Jude likely understands Genesis chapter 6 1 through 4 to refer to the intermarriage between spirit beings and humans. Jude 6 tells of angels who did not stay within their position of authority, but left their proper dwelling. Unless Jude is referring to an unknown event, he appears to be referring to the angels who left heaven to live on earth in Genesis chapter 6 verses 1 through 4. These arguments support the traditional view that the sons of God mated with human women and gave birth to the Nephilim. Though this may appear strange to modern ears, the same could be said for the entire Bible. Truth is stranger than fiction, and the world God has created is far from what we commonly believe. The sons of God saw the daughters of men. It is more accurate to see the sons of God as either demons, angels in rebellion against God, or uniquely demon-possessed men, and the daughters of men as human women. Jude 6. And angels who did not keep their own designated place of power, but abandoned their proper dwelling place, these he has kept in eternal chains under the thick gloom of utter darkness for the judgment of the great day. Jude 6 also explains what God did with these evil angels. 1 Peter chapter 3 verses 19 through 20 informs us Jesus proclaimed his victory on the cross over them. 1 Peter chapter 3 verses 19 through 20, in which he also went and preached to the spirits now in prison, who once were disobedient, when the great patience of God was waiting in the days of Noah, during the building of the ark, in which a few, that is, 8 persons, Noah's family, were brought safely through the water. As can be seen, Satan is much more than a red figure with horns and a pitchfork. He is an ancient being with real spiritual power, which he uses for evil and selfish ends. He is particularly hostile to Christians and seeks their annihilation. So here are 3 crucial truths to keep in mind as we navigate that spiritual reality. It is a grave error to regard God and the devil as polar opposites. This gives Satan far more credit than he deserves. The power disparity between God and Satan is that of an infinite creator and his work. No matter how cunning, crafty, or powerful Satan becomes in his rebellion against God, he will never be able to match the power of the one who created him. Simply put, no angelic being, whether fallen or righteous, can compete with Jesus' power and might. On the other hand, underestimating Satan's power is a similarly dangerous mistake. He is not stronger than God, but he is stronger than you. For millennia, Satan has concocted dark and wicked schemes. He's a skilled liar and manipulator, with power unrivaled by any mortal human. But while we should be wary of Satan, we do not need to fear him. We don't even know what his real name is. That, I believe, is by design. It's a subtle hint that he's not even a big enough threat to God to warrant knowing his name. Satan's defeat was foretold from the beginning. We can see the end from the beginning in the first chapters of Genesis. God declares the serpent defeated, even after he successfully leads Adam and Eve astray. Here is what God has to say to the serpent. And we see this promise fulfilled in Jesus' sacrifice. Despite being dealt a fatal blow, Jesus crushed the serpent's head as he gave up his spirit. And we eagerly await the day when this promise will be fully realized. Stay prepared for spiritual warfare. Many of us raised in modern times are frequently blinded to spiritual realities and unseen forces at work. We learned about them from books. We talk about them. However, few of us actually participate in them. In doing so, we may expose ourselves to spiritual attack. The quickest way to lose a battle is to be unaware that you are engaged in one. Jesus' power is far more than words on a page and hope for after we die. Every day, spiritual battles rage all around us. If we are to be effective spiritual warriors, we must lean into prayer, tune our hearts to the very real presence of God, and cultivate discernment as we seek to do our Father's work. Our adversary is formidable, but our God is even more so. A spiritual war is going on right now that affects everyone on the planet. It is a clash between two kingdoms. One kingdom is led by Almighty God, the Prince of Peace, while the other is led by Satan, the Prince of the power of darkness. A spirit world surrounds us, far more populous, powerful, and resourceful than our own visible world of human beings. Spirits, both good and evil, make their way through our midst. They move from place to place with lightning speed and silence. They live in the airspaces around us. Some we know care about our well-being, while others are out to get us. There are two kingdoms, one for God and one for his great adversary, Satan. One represents good, while the other represents evil. One represents light, while the other represents darkness. One represents blessings, and the other represents curses. One represents life, while the other represents death. These two antagonistic kingdoms cannot coexist. They are at odds. When did this spiritual conflict begin? What were the root causes? After being expelled from the third heaven, Satan and his followers pledged themselves to each other and formed the rebel kingdom, which still exists today and will continue to exist until it is destroyed by God's ultimate power. Paul warned us to keep our primary goal in mind so that we can stand against the wiles of the devil and not turn against one another. He emphasized that our adversary is not flesh and blood,